Welcome back to TFacts. First up, we're looking at Tracy Jewell, who is finally breaking her silence on the newest anti-woke's groom, Tyson Gordon. She's drawing some shocking parallels to her own time with series villain Dean Wells, and you won't believe how Dean responded to her public call-out. Then, we are going behind the curtain with Springett. He was the man everyone loved to hate, but now he's exposing the savage tactics producers used to break him down, including 16-hour filming days and a contract that kept him from his own children. Why was he really missing from that explosive reunion? But the heartbreak doesn't stop there. We're breaking down the tear-filled reunion between Rebecca and Bailey. Imagine being dumped twice by the same man, only to find out he was moving on with a friend just days later. The confrontation is brutal, and we have every detail. And finally, the story everyone is talking about, Gia Fleur's dramatic walkout. It all started with a few hidden photos on Scott's phone photos of his OnlyFans star ex-girlfriend. We've identified the woman at the center of the scandal, and Gia is now revealing the deep regret she has over introducing Scott to her young daughter. Married at First Sight legend Tracy Jewell is making headlines once again, but this time it isn't about her own marriage. The 2018 star has officially weighed in on the controversy surrounding the new anti-woke groom, Tyson Gordon, and her take is as sharp as it is personal. Tracy, who was famously paired with the series villain Dean Wells during Season 5, says that watching Tyson's quest for a submissive wife triggered a flood of difficult memories. Taking to Instagram, Tracy shared an image of Tyson, reflecting on how much she has changed since her time on the show. She admitted that years ago, she entered the experiment with low self-worth, desperate for love to prove she was enough. She described her dynamic with Dean as one where she was submissive and didn't truly understand the power play she was stepping into. Tracy's message was clear. When a man says he wants a submissive partner, it isn't romance, it's a demand for power. She urged women watching to trust their gut feelings, especially if the show makes them feel a knot in their stomach. Interestingly, her ex-husband Dean Wells didn't stay silent. He hopped into the comments with a bit of a cheeky wink, congratulating Tracy on finding a wholesome and faithful husband in Nathan Constable. While Tracy responded with a simple clapping emoji, fans weren't as kind, bringing up Dean's infamous hip-hop attempts and his past affair with Davina Rankin. It's been years since Tracy famously dumped Dean at the altar, telling him, "You don't deserve me." But it seems the lessons she learned back then are more relevant than ever, given the current state of the experiment. Tracy has moved on, finding happiness and welcoming a son in 2021, but she's using her platform to ensure other women don't fall into the same trap she did. The drama on Married at First Sight UK has reached a fever pitch, but the real story is what's happening when the cameras stop. Springett, the man branded the villain of the latest series, has finally broken his silence on why he was a no-show at the dramatic reunion. Steven is pulling back the curtain on what he calls savage production tactics that pushed him to his absolute breaking point. According to Steven, the experience was a mental drain unlike anything he'd ever faced. He claims he was subjected to 16-hour filming days and early 5 a.m. call times that left him exhausted. But the most heartbreaking allegation involves his children. Steven says he signed a contract that effectively barred him from seeing his kids for weeks, and when he received news that his stepdad was in the hospital with heart issues, the emotional weight became unbearable. He admits he lost his temper, but he blames the producers for intentionally pushing him toward a breakdown to secure his bad guy image. He even claims that old arguments were restaged to look like new ones, ensuring he couldn't escape the villain narrative. The situation turned even darker when Steven began receiving death threats and cruel messages targeting his son, who has autism. He claims the show's response was simply to not read them. While Steven has since sought therapy to deal with the trauma of the show and a past relationship, he remains bitter about how he was portrayed. He revealed that producers even asked another cast member, Dean, to include a dig about Steven using Hinge in a rap during the reunion. For Steven, the chapter is closed, but his exposé serves as a chilling reminder of the human cost of reality TV fame. The Married at First Sight UK reunion was supposed to be a time for closure, but for Rebecca, it was a total nightmare. Viewers were left stunned as Rebecca broke down in floods of tears upon seeing her ex-husband Bailey for the first time since their split. While the pair initially seemed like one of the strongest couples in the experiment, the reality of the outside world hit them hard. Rebecca claimed she was doing all the heavy lifting in their long-distance relationship, while Bailey argued that she became confrontational over every little thing. The real bombshell, however, was the revelation that Bailey had moved on almost instantly. According to co-star April, Bailey was spotted at a festival in Sandbanks just days after the breakup, where he reportedly slept with one of April's friends. Rebecca was absolutely blindsided, telling the cameras that her world came crashing down when she heard the news. During a heated confrontation at the reunion, Rebecca accused Bailey of essentially dumping her twice, once when they initially split, and a second time through his betrayal. Bailey, visibly emotional himself, admitted he was still in love with her, but defended his actions by insisting they were technically single at the time. The tension was palpable, as Rebecca questioned why he was still trying to be intimate with her while planning to see other people. It was a messy, heartbreaking end to a relationship that many fans thought would go the distance. Bailey admitted he got with someone too soon, but the damage was done. For Rebecca, the reunion wasn't a celebration, it was a painful reminder of a love that turned into a public scandal. In one of the most explosive walkouts in Married at First Sight history, Gia Fleur has officially reached her limit with Scott McChrystal. The drama erupted after Gia discovered explicit photos of Scott's ex-girlfriend on his phone, and not just any ex, but blonde bombshell and OnlyFans creator Abby Dowse. The discovery was made via the iPhone's Memories feature, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Scott had just met Gia's 8-year-old daughter for the first time, making the presence of lingerie and solo naked photos on his device feel like a massive sign of disrespect. When Gia issued an ultimatum to delete the photos, Scott refused, claiming they were just memories. This led to a furious Gia packing her bags and storming out, telling producers she was done. In a rogue follow-up interview, Gia unleashed her true feelings, admitting she deeply regrets ever introducing Scott to her child. She explained that she was serious about the relationship and wanted to see if Scott could handle a fatherly role, but the photo scandal proved he wasn't ready for that level of commitment. While the pair were spotted on a seemingly happy family outing shortly after the filming of the argument, Gia says that, in hindsight, it was a mistake. She described the situation as confronting and inappropriate, especially since she is raising a young girl. The woman at the center of it all, Abby Dowse, has scrubbed Scott from her social media, but the damage to his marriage with Gia seems permanent. Gia's exit has left fans wondering if there is any hope for reconciliation, but with her latest comments, it sounds like this bride has finally closed the door on Scott for good.